about Jason, but I'm going to introduce him now, and he'll probably be able to do a bit of a better intro. Welcome, Jason Graystone.
Thanks for inviting me on.
You
Pleasure.
are very welcome, very welcome. So did that intro kind of cover a little bit? Probably only a little bit, actually.
No, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's interesting when you mentioned about resonating with the podcast and everything, because I tend to, the way that I deliver my podcast is a way that it's hard not to resonate with, because it's all based on kind of universal laws and principles that we all kind of seek to achieve. And I appreciate you listening to it, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. It's and I've recommended it to other people as well. It has really given me it's changed my mindset on a lot of things, and it came at a good time, obviously with COVID as well. It came at a perfect time. I think that I probably wouldn't have invested as much time to listen to it if I didn't have the time to spend doing it. So it came at a perfect time. So can you give us a bit of a background about yourself? Obviously, I've touched on it slightly, but a bit of a background about you and yourself, and
Yeah. So essentially, I started a business when I had my first son. It really kind of gave me a drive to finally bite the bullet, and I had no real plan. I didn't feel ready for a child. I was 22, and at that point, I decided to put a real plan together. I had a job, and I didn't feel that I was in a place where I could support another human being. So when we found out that we was going to have a baby, that really kind of put a rocket up me. To put a plan together. And I was an engineer. I was an engineer from school, and I kind of had this logical mind, and I thought, I better get to work. So I kind of pulled up a spreadsheet and started to visualize and calculate how I could essentially become financially independent. And in order to become financially independent, I actually had to put a definition to what that was. So I had all these figures, and I had this kind of plan that I needed this amount saved and this amount invested, and if I could get a return on this amount, and if I could increase my savings by this amount, and if I could kind of increase my income by this amount in this period of time, I would be able to replace my income, my active income, from more passive or leveraged income streams and live financially free. And that was the plan, and it was all kind of a spreadsheet. It was a spreadsheet until when I got deeper into that journey, I realized that I could actually speed up the process, and it was a case of, well, how can I tweak it to speed this income replacement element up? And I went through various investments, speculations, and then I went through a business growth period where I was trying to grow my income so much. And in doing so, as you said, I built up kind of a multi-million-pound service business. But because of the way that I was using the business to kind of liberate myself from the workforce, it was very volatile. It was very kind of, the cash flow was quite thin. I was paying myself as much as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And with that came a lot of stress. And it was that point where I was like, I just need to figure out how I can just accelerate this last bit. And I started at a 20-year plan, and then I kind of went down to 15, then 10, then 8. And then I started looking at really high speculative vehicles, such as like literally online poker. I was looking at options trading. I was looking at, even flipping certain assets like watches and things like that. And then I kind of settled around the financial markets, because I thought that resonated with me the most.
Yeah.
Quite a logical brain. And by that time, I'd kind of earned my way to that much risk. Starting a business like that at 22, your stress is so high for so long, it just becomes normal.
Yeah.
And then everything else just raises up to that. And now and then you get to a point where it's really hard to become stressed out. You just don't get stressed. It takes a lot for you to get stressed out. So I'd kind of earned my way to that level of risk, and then I went into speculation, and I ended up blowing a lot of money figuring out how to kind of master the art of consistent profits on that. But once I did that, I was about just over 3.5 years, I completely replaced my active income. And in doing that, I was able to just free up my time to focus on what I wanted to do and really get true to who I really was. And I found out that I loved actually learning and teaching and
definitely
helping others. So I'd naturally just build more businesses doing that, showing people the realistic truth about this stuff and how it can be done without all these kind of impartial or partial strategies out there with a load of showmanship bolted on. This is a spreadsheet at the end of the day.
See, I think what is really, which a lot of people, I'm not normally a planner, okay? But what I have found with the way that you work and everything that's in the programs that the Tears of Freedom program, everything has been tested, analyzed, worked out, calculated, put into, you spend so much time planning. And that's one thing that I'm a little bit like, well, yeah, let's give that a go. I have to rein that in. And I think it shows that we do need to plan, especially when it's to do with finances and business, don't we?
Absolutely. And again, when I said, the stuff that I talk about resonates, is because there's no argument against what I'm saying. Everything that I put out has stood the test of time. It's true to human behavior and human psychology, and that hasn't really changed much or evolved much over the last 3,000 years. So as long as I'm talking in terms of stuff that you can't argue with, people will resonate with it. But it all boils down to the importance of planning. Really, is a lot of the time people think that they come to me and they just want this kind of step-by-step strategy to get out of where they are, and let's be honest, there's no shortage of strategies. They're everywhere, right? There's weight loss strategies and business strategies and wealth strategies and property and all that, right? There's absolutely no shortage of strategies. There's just not. The reason people don't achieve it is because the strategy that they take isn't quite aligned with who they really are. So they're trying to do something that's out of alignment with what they're naturally guided towards. And the way that and what happens to those people is they're kind of swung left and right day to day, trying to fight and battle their way through and scratch and claw and try and get to the next thing. Whereas if you just align yourself with what really inspires you, you find this internal motivation to go after it. And the next step, once you're doing that, the most important thing you can do is set long-term goals in alignment with that vision. Because if you don't set long-term goals, it's a bit like if you was to get in a tractor and go on a farm and you're kind of trying to mow the fields in these straight lines. If you look ahead, you can mow in a straight line, no problem. But if you was to look down at the ground whilst you're in the tractor, try and mow in a straight line, you'd be all over the place. And by the time you got to the other end, you'd be all like it would be a complete mess. So having a long-term view allows you to focus on that, and everything that comes at you day to day is less of a drama, less of a problem, and everything's kind of just on the way. It's not in the way. You've got that
clarity there. You've got that clarity of where you want to be. And I think that
Absolutely.
With what I do, I was exactly the same up until these last, I'd say, 18 months ago. But I do think, especially in the hair and beauty industry, it's almost like you go into it because it's, I actually went into it because it seemed easy. So you kind of go into it, you think, it'd be a nice, easy, fluffy trade, we'll do that. And you just work every day. You just rely on touching your clients every day, filling up your diary. The busier your diary is, it's great. Yeah, I've got a 12-hour day, and then kids come along, and then obviously your spends go higher. You want the nicer things, right? I'll work more hours, and you just work day by day, and it's crazy because that is how I would probably say 90% of people in the hair, beauty, and aesthetic business work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not sustainable, right?
No, it's not sustainable because you're charging money for your time, and there's only a certain amount of hours in the day. And this is a trap that a lot of people fall into, right? And most people think that I'll charge, I don't know, £200 an hour for a client, and I'll go and get 5 clients. Well, that might sound good at £1,000, but you've got to then go and get 5 clients, and then you've got to one, you're limiting your income, but 2, you're limiting your time, and 3, or you're maximizing your time, and 3, you're just going to burn out because you're going to go churn through clients on this kind of forever hamster wheel of charging for your time, and it doesn't really work. It falls down when you've got so much to do, and you're not. This is part of the reason that I teach people to manage their finances wisely, because a lot of it comes down to managing finances. Because when you're on a treadmill like that, you become stressed. You start to resent working or showing up to an appointment.
You start resenting what you do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you start resenting what you're doing, and that is an internal thing, like a threshold that you reach where you value your time more than what you're charging. So that's not easy to identify. There's a story where my wife loves animals, right? And she doesn't have to work, but she wanted to go out there and do something with her day and generate some income. And we lived on a private road, and she started walking these dogs, right? And we started putting some packages together so she could go and walk the dogs and charge. But it's the sort of thing that she'd do for free, okay? Yeah. And one time I said, like, you don't want to be doing anything for free, and you want to be charging the right amount that's in fair exchange for your time and how much you value your time. And there was one time where no matter how much she loved dogs, the owners didn't come back. Like they were messing around, getting back late and all this. And a switch went off. It was like, she rang me up. She was like, they're taking the mick, they're not back. And, and that point there is where you kind of cross how much your time's worth for how much you're charging for it. And you can't always see it. You only find out when it's usually too late and you're kind of in amongst it. And now you've got to try and dig your way out of it. And the way managing your finances wisely allows you to, a lot of people don't think about this, but managing your finances isn't about just stashing money in a pit and forgetting about it. It's actually using the income that you get to pay yourself first. And what I mean by pay yourself first is pay yourself out of that time role by using systems and delegations and automations and processes that allow you to free up your time.
Yeah.
Because once you free up your time, you can focus on the 20% that you're absolutely brilliant at, and push everything, the 80%, onto someone else who will do it, who will do the job just as good as you.
Yeah. Probably not better. This is what I outsource a lot of stuff now. Social media, my, like podcast I'm doing today in video, I literally just whiz it straight over to a girl called Milo. She just edits it, upload, does whatever. I do the stuff that I enjoy doing, and I do the stuff where it's more my high ticket price, because I still do clients and I still want to do clients, but I don't have to do all the automation, all the emails, the booking system. We don't get into, and this is the thing that I say to a lot of people, you get into your job or you get into the industry that you're in because you enjoy, like I enjoy treating clients and doing my permanent cosmetics and aesthetics. I enjoy that. I didn't get into it because I want to do marketing, branding, social media. I didn't get into it for all the aspects.
No. And that's what people do. They think that they're going to start a business. They actually just create a job with more stuff to do.
Do you think
charge for your time?
That is like that? A lot of entrepreneurs believe that they're the better person to do it. They can be a little bit controlling because they're obviously entrepreneurs. They feel like, well, no, it's mine. Yeah. I'm doing it. They feel like they can do it better than anybody else. Do you find that happens?
Definitely. Absolutely. And they fall into the trap of, getting resentful because they're charging time for money. They've got all of these tasks to do that are moving them away from the one thing that they wanted to do, which might have been, I don't know, surgery, teeth, fitness, whatever. And now they've got to do paperwork, tax, all the other stuff that comes along with businesses, quoting, reporting, all that kind of stuff. And by trying to do it all yourself, what you do is become resentful. So you take any income that you have generated and you go and splurge it on something to make you feel good for 5 minutes, and you buy something that's depreciating in value, which makes you feel good for about 5 minutes, and it's moved you further away from being able to take that money and buy yourself out of that, out of 80% of the stuff that you could delegate.
Yeah. See, I find that in lockdown, because I was obviously diversifying my business pre-lockdown, but lockdown forced me to 50% of my working week is touching clients. So lockdown forced me to do things that I wanted to do. So I created a podcast in lockdown, my YouTube channel. I'm doing virtual treatments. I'm doing webinars. I'm uploading another workshop today. And all that stuff, I probably wouldn't have been able to have that. It would have took me longer, but it's made me realize that that's actually what I really enjoy doing, because, when you enjoy something, it resonates, and I find that has really given myself some time to break away from teaching clients, has enabled me to do that. So I think if somebody can outsource a lot of their daily tasks, because we do it all the time, we'll have clients in all day, we get back at 8:00 at night, and then we spend 2 hours responding to clients. Oh, can you do 9:00? No, I can't. I can do 8. Oh, here's a link, click on it, book in, book your own slot in my own diary at your own time. I don't have to go back and forth. And that's what I've done on a lot of these podcasts, tell people how to do these certain things, because once you're free, I'm going to say, it's like I'm saying your line now. What's your line? Once you're free and
able to focus on meaningful work, you become a better human being.
There we go. I love it.
100% believe that. And what you just said is absolutely true as well. I mean, it's like this pandemic that we've just been through has been a force of evolution. It's forced people to evolve, which obviously is a movement towards more order, less chaos, less time, less space. And that's what the world's always been doing. This has just pushed people along that journey a little bit quicker. And people have had a real experience of what it's like to have financial freedom in this pandemic. And the reason I say that is because all freedom is being able to get up and choose what you do, what you would love to do, want to do, choose to do, and be paid an income that isn't reliant of your activities or your time. So, 8 million people were furloughed in the country, and they're waking up, they're being paid, they're deciding what they do first. They're not having to do something that they don't want to do first. They're deciding what they do first. And not only that, they've rationalized their lifestyle costs, because there's no one to show off to. You can't keep up with the Joneses if you're not allowed to meet up with the Joneses, right? So everyone's kind of experienced what financial freedom is. That's what it is. It's being able to cover your lifestyle costs by controlling them and scaling them at the right degree, covering your lifestyle costs, waking up and being paid passively or semi-passively, or from a leveraged income, like you say, out of time and into more of a productized system or a subscription system where you're getting that revenue coming in regardless through assets. And then you are you're essentially doing what you want to do. And when you focus on that, when you wake up and you ask yourself, what would I do if I had, if I didn't have to work from Monday onwards, what would be the first thing I'd do on Monday? That answer's usually quite close to what you should be doing right now. It's usually what you could be doing right now. And if it's kind of some lavish trip to Jamaica, then that's short-lived. But if it's something where you go, do you know what? I'd love to do that. I'd love to see that happen in the world. I'd love to see that happen in the world. Or I'd love to do this or that. That's usually very close to what you ought to be doing, and you've moved that far away from it because of all the bogged downness of the little bits that you shouldn't be doing.
Do you think it's also as well, do you think the lockdown has almost given everybody a level playing field? Even though obviously
Definitely.
certain industries that can't do certain things, it's almost just says to everybody, right, you're all behind a computer, you're all behind a phone, go.
Yeah.
It's kind of the playing field. It doesn't matter who you are, does it? You just
I think the playing field's almost been leveled for quite a while. It's just people are blind to it. They're blind to how level the playing field is. So one thing would be certifications and qualifications, which I know is quite a big thing in your industry, right? People are out there getting results with no qualifications, and they have been due to their influence on social media and things like that. Qualifications just aren't important now, or as important now, or I certainly don't want to see people's certificates. So I mean, people like Google and Facebook aren't looking for certification anymore. They're looking for results, and results are certification. So if I want some beautiful wedding photos of my wedding, and I want a video capture that's going to capture all the emotions of the big day, well, I don't care if you've been to photography school or been put 100,000 hours into a dark room, a red room. I don't care about any of that stuff. What I care about is your examples that you're going to show me. I want to replicate what you've just shown me, and I don't care about your certificates. So that's always been there. It's just a case of getting out and showing people what you're capable of. It's not it's getting out of obscurity. It's not about just being kind of arrogant to your certificates. If you love certificates that much, again, if it's that meaningful to you to have qualifications and certificates, maybe take a step back from your business and ask yourself, is it the actual work that I love doing, or do I value certification and qualification so much that I'm actually just going to create a program to teach people and create my own certification, because that's probably more valuable to you than the actual work itself. So if you're right, so if you're one of those people, then maybe you should be teaching. Maybe you should create your own academy.
Yeah, I was actually talking to her. She's a good friend of mine, and we're going to be working together on something. It's not fully out there yet, but she does training. She teaches people in the beauty and aesthetic industry, and we're talking about the kind of like the two different people in this industry. You either get the people that qualified 10 years ago, then sit on exactly what they've got, and then they open a hair salon, they just do that. They don't kind of do anything else. Then you've got the course junkies. You've got these course junkies that whatever new treatment, whatever new product, whatever new thing, they throw all this money at all these courses, never really invest in themselves, because in our industry, I don't think many people invest in business coaching or financial coaching. It's all on to provide a service or a treatment. And these type of people will do everything to get that next treatment, the next product, thinking that that's going to be the one that's going to make them the money. They keep doing it, course junkies. And one of my friends, she's a real course junkie. And now she's actually going to go into teaching people how to teach, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So she's actually going to teach people how to teach, because she's got that much knowledge in all these courses she's done that she's thought, you know what, I actually enjoy training so much. Let me teach people to train. So, like you just said, you don't really realize why you're doing the certain thing you're doing, but it could end up in an alternative, path.
Yeah, no, totally. I think, people who chase, there's two elements to that really. One is like people who are trying the next strategy and trying to learn everything. It kind of dilutes their expertise a little bit. So I always liken it to the kind of general builder. If I need some, if I need a tiler in my house, my wife might ring around and see if anyone's available. And sometimes she's gone, this guy can start Monday. And I think, well, it's Friday. Why isn't he busy? Why aren't they busy? And then I'll kind of look at him and he'll say, general, I do everything. I do plumbing, electrics. And I think I'd rather just wait for a tiler. And then the reason I want to wait for a tiler is because that's all they do. Yes. And if that's all they do, I know it's going to cost me less in the long run, even though it might be more expensive to do the actual job, because it's going to be a better job. And there's usually, not a lot of argument against that particular approach. So I believe in like doubling down in what you're good at. I think it helps you stand out more. I think by going after a specific market of people that want that, if it's fat loss, you might target people who just want to lose flab under their arms, and then you can message it that way, right? And you can sweep up, you can literally clear up of all of those people, and you only need you only need those people. You don't need everyone, and then maybe later on you can start pivoting and all the rest of it. But it's very, very noisy world out there, and people don't understand what you do. I mean, it's hard enough.
Proud, haven't you?
Yeah, it's so noisy. I mean, it's hard for me to explain about the Tears of Freedom program. You're in it, you understand it, but for me to actually explain what that is or what I do, it can be really noisy unless you just
awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it, but it's very, very difficult unless you've been through that indoctrination of my podcast, and you've bought into my message, and you know exactly what I'm going to give you. Until then, it's you can't just be a jack of all trades. I can't say, oh yeah, I'll help you with your mindset, I'll help you with this, I'll help you with that. I just say, look, I'm going to make you financially free, and that's it. And then when you get in, then you find out, actually, there's a bit more to this. I'm gonna have to do a bit of work here, and that's great. But they're in then. At that point, they're in. Actually, trying to get people in, and you're offering all these services. It's a bit like the kebab shop that sells pizza, chicken wings, and all that. You think that looks ropey, right? So it's like, well, how can they possibly offer all these services? Yeah. So there's that, and then going back to my last point, it's a bit of strategy chasing. It's like chasing a strategy, another strategy. And again, if it's not quite aligned to what you actually believe in and want to, align with your long-term goals, then you're probably not going to have any results with it anyway.
No, you're not ever going to get there. And the thing is, like you were saying about knowing your client, I did this with Richard years ago, actually. You've got to know exactly who you're selling to, and I did a podcast a few weeks ago, actually taking it right back to your dream client, being so specific on who they are, where they shop, what they do, what they, where they work, do they have family, do they not, and literally get pen to paper and just write down your client. Yep. If you do that, every time you market yourself, you will be marketing based on the client you wanted to receive, rather than saying, oh, I have nail extensions this weekend at buy one get one free. I don't give a shit about that. Tell me, resonate with me as a person. So I think a lot of people do, especially in the beauty industry, just spread themselves too thinly. They just think, let me get all these qualifications, spread themselves so thinly. Nothing will ever really make them the money. It will just go back into the till and then go back on another course. It doesn't.
And do it. That is it. I mean, one of the reasons that I am so inspired to teach people about having their finances in order is because it helps with things like this. Not everyone can just set up a business and then cater to a specific person. The reason they go out and offer everything to everyone is because they're desperate to get the money in quickly. So without having a cash cushion of some kind, at least, you're not going to be thinking like that anyway. You're not going to go, oh, this person's offering me money, I might as well just take their money. Whereas if you're going after the long term and you're going for the highly profitable business, you're going to have to say no to the people that aren't ideal clients. You're going to have to go no. And to do that, you have to have your finances in order. You have to have some cash cushions and some liquidity there to ease your brain to say, no, we're not desperate to take their money. We're just going to stay true to our word. We're going to keep. You've seen it firsthand with the program that I'm running now. We've got like 1,000 people on the Facebook waiting list, and there's only 700 people in the group, and there's only 300 members of the program. So there's this kind of big filtering process, and by the time we offer the program to someone, let's snap it up, and we make sure at that point that they're perfect for the program. They're not someone who's got no money and can't afford it and all this kind of stuff.
And they're not going to put in the time and effort to get the results and then moan that it doesn't work,
Exactly. You just end up with bad reviews, and you end up with peed off clients that take time to give money back to and all this kind of stuff. You're better off just getting, 100% good
buffer, like
reviews.
you said, you always say at least 3 to 6 months, don't you, for a bit of a cash buffer.
Yeah.
And I've done it before, but I'm more so now. My cash buffer is always there. But you're right in saying you make different decisions. And in the beauty industry, you'll get somebody that comes in and you'll look at them and think, can I actually, I do a lot of eyebrows. I do a lot of eyebrows and scalp tattooing. But I'll have somebody and I think, oh, they're not that great. Now, if I know I had a cash buffer, I'd say, you know what, I'm not the technician for you. I'm not the technician for you. I suggest you go and source laser or whatever it may be. Whereas if you're acting on desperation because you haven't got your cash buffer and you're thinking, oh God, this 200 quid can get me a night out this weekend, then you might think, oh, I'll give it a go. And I did that many years ago. And you always know that you have that feeling where you think, shit, these are not the client for me. And they will always be the client that complain or ask for the money back or not be happy. And, I've had about 3 clients in the past where I've doubted, where I'm like, I shouldn't have treated them. And they're the 3 clients that have been a problem. So, you can't be afraid of saying no to your clients because you can pick your clients as well as they can pick you.
Oh, totally. Everything should be in fair exchange, in my opinion. So, I do believe in giving more value in use value than cost value. So I always believe in giving more than people value the pound, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So they get more in value than what they thought they'd get. I believe in doing that, but I also believe in asking for the money. I believe in, we both get a good deal. When you work with me, you get a good deal, I get a good deal, and it's as simple as that. And the reason that cash buffer is so important is because the more kind of the more mastered your mind is, the more simplistic your mind is inside here, the less you've got going on in here, the more complexity you can deal with in market volatility, in the outside world, in road rage, everything. The more complexity you can deal with staff, all of that kind of stuff, business. So the way that you need to appease that part of your mind that allows you to do that is to at least appease the oldest, most kind of primitive part of your brain, which is the amygdala, which is basically looking out for your physiological needs, which is food, shelter, water, security, clothing, warmth, and all the rest of it. Now, the last time I checked, all of that costs money. So you have to have, you're going to have some physiological lifestyle costs every single month. And your priority should be to appease that brain so you can start thinking on a different level. And the way you do that is to add up what those lifestyle costs are per month and multiply it by 3, 6, ideally 12, and save that money to cover that. So it's there in the bank all the time. So that in the back of your mind, you're always thinking calm. You're always thinking longer term, bigger vision and ideal clients, because you know that if you lost your income tomorrow, you can live. And as long as you're appeasing that part of your brain, it doesn't matter about the rest. You think at a different level. You move up the hierarchy of needs.
Yeah. See, things you talk about that a lot. There's so many people out there. I've got quite a lot of younger friends. And they're exactly. I actually try and get one of them to. I'm like, oh God, you should listen to his podcast, Scott. You'll love it. And he's like, how old is he? He's about 27, so he's not young. But I'm 37, and one of my good friends, she's 23. But they literally just get all the money, drain it all. They have a good month. They have nice clothes. Yep. They have nice cocktail nights out, and then they're like skint. So I'll message you, want to come out? No, I've got no money left. Okay. So, and that's their month. That's what they do. They do save for holidays. Holidays are their priority. They straight away holiday.
Which is an escape, right?
Yeah.
Which is an escape. But it works the other way. Like the whole, when I say about having that cushion there, it's for stability, because it's all good having a lot. If let's just say that you earned £1,000 a day, and that was your average, and you earned £1,000 every day for forever, and then one day you earned £5,000. on that day, you're going to feel, oh, this is good. Like, you're going to feel elated, right? Because it's such a big contrast between what you usually earn and what you've earned today, and you'll feel great. If the next day you earn £50, you're going to think, oh, that's a bit dodgy. And then if the next day you earn nothing, then you're going to start panicking, regardless of earning $5,000 a few days ago. And by having that volatility in your income, it's going to challenge you. So the best way to get over that is to just have a consistent account that's forever growing, that's got your lifestyle costs covered, so that you can think clearly and you think long term without changing strategies or being reactive to situations. Definitely. And that's what the cash buffer's for.
Definitely.
It makes you less aggressive. Yeah. It makes you more caring, more loving to your clients. It makes you more creative to create better products. It's just, there's an instant ROI on just having cash sat there in the bank.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely helped me loads. So talking about being more diverse, obviously I know beauty sector is not your sector, but businesses. So, you know that, like I've said, 90% of people rely on touching clients to generate a revenue. Mm-hmm. So how would you say somebody in the beauty industry could diversify their skills to be able to create a more passive income, and more sustainability for the future? How would you say they could do that?
The first way would be, so I always diversify everything, because I think diversity is the key to building, to growth, sustainable growth in anything, really, diversity. And although it might be slower, the exponential growth element to it is always going to outpay people that try to get the quick win and instant gratification. So diversity is absolutely crucial. In a service-based industry like that, the first step is to start building an authority. Okay, so getting yourself out there and make yourself known. Just by doing that, you're going to be building rapport with people whilst you're asleep. So, I woke up this morning and one of my videos has had 2,000 views. I was asleep. So I'm resonating. You said, like, you resonated with my podcast and you're listening to me, and people listen to you in the gym and in the shower and in bed and all the rest of it, on the beach. You're building rapport with people without having to actively be there. Yeah. So immediately you're leveraging your time, and that is, that's the key, right? And what else you're going to be doing is you're going to be reaching more people. There's no open hours. It's not 9 till 5. It's 24/7, and you're out there resonating with people constantly. Yeah. That, although it's free to put out a podcast and a video, that's going to boost your revenue without a doubt over time. Yeah. Second thing is delegations. Right, delegate as much of the stuff that you don't want, that you feel that you should do, you must do, or have to do. Delegate all of those tasks. So I'd recommend just literally doing a time study of your week, looking at how you spend each and every single hour, and then write down all the tasks that you're doing for that whole week, and then just go, right, score them on a 1 to 10, and just say, right, this I'd love to do, this I'd do if I wasn't getting paid, this I absolutely can't wait to do, this I don't want to do, this is a pain in my ass, this is, and then basically just build a priority of starting to delegate all of those things, or systemizing them, or automating them, or building some sort of process to get rid of all of that stuff. And you'll just liberate your way out of all of that stuff, so that you can start focusing on high value and high profit tasks for your business. Once you've done that, then secondly, the next step really is to kind of build an ecosystem of products. So building the free products like the podcasts and the videos. But I'm really a fan of, instead of selling a high ticket item like a teeth whitening, for instance, having a way of having a subscription revenue alongside of that. So, a maintenance or some kind of mastermind group, or some kind of client group, or something like that, or an inner circle type thing.
Yeah, I do a subscription. That's been, and I actually signed about 10 people first 2 weeks of lockdown, and You know, subscriptions do
Excellent.
work. A lot of people don't think it does because they're like, well, why would I pay? You know, will they get their skincare delivered to their door as and when they run out? One's just messaged me now. I'm like, yeah, here, order, get it sent. And there you go. Way to spread the cost for them, but it's guaranteed money for me.
Absolutely. I would focus more on a subscription revenue than I would a core product revenue at the beginning. And the reason being is because if you know how much it costs to do a core product, let's just say that you have to buy so much amount of materials to do a skin treatment.
Yeah.
And you build a subscription product that allows you to cover the operating costs of doing those. When all of the operating costs are covered from that recurring revenue, and I'm talking about, you know, a hard subscription model that charges people it's constantly coming in, it's staggered throughout the month, and it's really, really sustainable income. When that income level can pay for the overheads in your business, then every high ticket thing that you sell is pure profit on top. And, you know, that's a very, very sustainable business model. So I definitely would recommend that everyone figures out how to build a subscription model. And nowadays it's so easy. I mean, it could be a group, literally a Facebook group that you could charge for a Facebook group. And the way that you do that is you think about what would be the next step for the client that's had my treatment. What are they thinking now? You know, if they've had liposuction and they've lost some fat around their hips, what's their wardrobe look like now? Do they want a wardrobe makeover? You know, do they want a stylist? Do they think outside the box and see who could complement your product? Where you collaborate, you both get a deal, they're getting paid, you're getting paid, it adds value to your product, so people just think, wow, got everything I need here. And you just charge a subscription model for it, or you know, a next. It could be a higher ticket. It could be a next thing, but never stop. Like never stop with your products. Never stop with. You know, there has to always be the ability to scale the income eternally. That's how you should be thinking. It's not like, oh well, you know, once I've hit 9 till 5 and I have to close the doors and I've only got these 2 products and, you know, and that's it. You want to really think much bigger than that, and how you can constantly serve people throughout their journey, and you map out their journey. Let's go back to what you said about knowing your ideal client. By getting to grips with what that looks like is, well, once they've bought this from me, what are they going to want then? And then once they've bought that, what are they going to want then? And it's a way, and then it's asking them, ask them, what would you want after, if you had this and you had this problem solved, what would your problem be? And you can literally ask that question whilst they've still got the problem in the first place, to then start building something out and testing it.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people fail to do in the industry is they don't give time for kind of personal coaching to speak to people to help them develop the business or their skills or try and put plans in place, or they don't give themselves time to work on their business. They work solely in their business every day. They don't have, like, I've pulled right back and I'm only doing 3 days hands-on. The rest of my days is my business. I'm trying to build up a subscription so I can get my subscription to pay a member of staff to then free up another day. So you have to have the time to spend on the business and giving away the free value as well, you know, to build up that audience. But people just go straight on, let's work 9-8, 9-8, 9-8, cram all the days in, late nights, weekends, and don't give that, their day off is a day fully off. They don't ever work on the business. And that's a big thing that I found. Having a coach, you know, really, really helps kind of put things into practice. Definitely.
In a service business, it's about being, if you want to leverage time and you want to generate more profits whilst diversifying, it's about being outward facing to your market and being the authority in your industry, without a doubt. And, you know, speaking of that, there's never been a time, I know we've always had celebrities and authorities, but we've now got TikTok and Instagram and all these people have got like 20, 30 million followers that you've literally never heard of. These kids out there, or these teenagers, or these adults out there with the 20 million followers on Instagram. These people, if you're in aesthetics, for instance, going back to that niche, you could literally be, you could do the TikTok package or the Instagram package where you could just go, we just help people be their authority. We help people, be the influencer, and we do this influencer package where you get this and this skin treatment, the filter treatment, right? So you don't need get your skin looking like you don't need no filter and all this kind of stuff. And you could be known as the influencer aesthetics group or whatever, right? So that's just coming off the top of my head while I'm talking. That's the kind of thing, right? Where you just go, think outside the box, and you just go, right, I'm going to see who else I can add to my package and give it value, and just target it as one thing. Even though you do much more than that, it cuts out the noise. People are clear on what you do, and it's really, really important.
But you can't do that if you don't give yourself the time to do that, if you are literally in the face of the beauty industry. So, I think it's all about having that cash buffer, releasing that, the animal instinct brain, like you speak about on your podcast quite a lot, and actually freeing up some time to invest in yourself and to think outside the box and start thinking of how you can, think of all these different things that have not been done. Because we've literally, if you've got a phone, you've got no restrictions. If you've got a smartphone, there's nothing you can't do apart from...
This is your stage, right? It's literally a stage to the world. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And even your own TV program.
We are still... Are we going to go back into a lockdown? Some restrictions, there's a lot of things happening there that a lot of people are going to online things. So, we're all on them. So, definitely.
Use it.
So, well, some of my questions were covered. What's the point in writing a list of questions? Just go for it. So what do you think what's new for you then in what you're doing? Where do you see your business, your TOF program? Where do you see that going?
Yeah, so the way that I kind of do everything in my life is I see it like a bit of a game of Tetris. So you chunk in one thing that you're inspired to go and work on, and it's a bit clunky and a bit out of place, and it's not really efficient. And my job is to then make it efficient and timeless and spaceless and working. And then I clunk it into the corner, and then I drop in the next thing, and then I work on the next thing and the next thing. And people always say, like, if you're financially free and you don't need to work, why do you keep building businesses? And people who say that completely miss the point of what being financially free actually allows you to do, because no one wants to sit there doing nothing, right? So and not only does no one want to sit there doing nothing, it's usually down to just a resentment of the position they're in at the moment. But also, if you value financial independence, you value income, and you value creating businesses and serving people to a greater degree. And I always there's a book that was written by a guy called Hubert Howe Bancroft, and it's called The Book of Wealth. And in The Book of Wealth, it's basically a study of all of the most successful wealthy people over the last 6,500 years. And the summary of that book was basically there's all of the people that were mentioned in that book. There's three common things in that book. And one was they value serving other people. The second thing was they believe that they can be royalty. They believe that they deserve nice things in life. And the third thing is they value wealth building, which only comes from those two things. So if you don't value serving people, but you value yourself and you value taking, you're not going to build wealth. If you value yourself, but you don't value serving other people, you're not going to build wealth. There's no way. So self-worth and other worth equals net worth, and it's directly correlated. So the way that I go about all my business is service and sharing services and value of the world, taking money as fair exchange and accepting that, and then using that money to allow me to continue to do that. So with the TOF program is now just a product. And on top of that, there will be all of these little subscription models and things like that we're going to build around that and get working seamlessly in time. And my goal is to reach millions of people with TOF.
Definitely. Eventually. No. I think it's definitely got that. It's definitely gonna do that. It's even when I've been part of the program, it's grown quite quickly. Me being part of the group, so it's definitely. It's definitely getting there. So how can somebody find you then? If somebody wants to, obviously, I always say your podcast, which is always free, is a great place to start to kind of get a little bit of insight of, your business, your trading, everything else. But anywhere else that people can find you that you want to share?
I do recommend just go and check out the podcast. Always free. You'll find it on iTunes or any of the other platforms. You can find me on social media. So Instagram, it's J_Graystone. And that's it really. If you listen to those podcasts or look at me on Instagram, you'll pretty much find what you need to find at the right time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you. Wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought. I think I'm going to get used to this. But no, thank you for sharing, definitely sharing some valuable tips with my followers. And I really do think it's going to be a good podcast to share. So thank you so much. And thank you for everyone that has been watching today. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching. If you feel that you have got great benefit from this and you would like to work with me on a one-to-one or join one of my webinars, then please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram, and all my links should be below in the description. I look forward to speaking to you soon and taking your business to the next level. Bye for now.